This video was created based on the book called The Dowry Murder, The Imperial Origins of a Cultural Crime by Veena, Talwar, Oldenburg. We believe this is one of the few books that traces the origins of dowry from ancient India all the way to the 20th century. Let's get started. We all know that the practice of dowry is illegal in India, and rightly so. Dowry demand by the husband's family continues to be a major reason for domestic violence and deaths. Surprisingly, dowry is a classic case of a good idea that got lost in translation and instead became an instrument for abuse. Stick around to learn about the surprising origins of dowry and how it eventually became an evil practice that had to be banned. Before we explore further, remember to like and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get instant notifications when we upload new videos. The concept of dowry was first recorded in Manusmriti, an ancient legal text dating back to 200 AD that lays down the laws that govern the conduct of men and women in our society. In fact, the British colonial government drafted the Hindu law based on Manusmriti. Manusmriti lays out a broad principle of Stridhan, or the sixfold property of women, as a method to ensure financial independence of women after marriage. This principle later became the practice of dowry as we know it today. What does Stridhan mean? Here is the translation from Manusmriti. What was given before the nuptial fire? What was given on the bridal procession? What was given in token of love? And what was received from her brother, mother, or father? That is called the sixfold property of women. As you can clearly see, according to Manusmriti, women had the right to use the wealth that she brings into a marriage. Manusmriti also says such property, as well as gifts subsequent and what was given to her by her affectionate husband, shall go to her offspring even if she dies in the lifetime of her husband. This clearly means the wealth that the wife brings into the marriage will only be passed on to her children and not to the husband if she dies and the husband is still alive. In many ways, Manusmriti is blamed for making it difficult for women to remain independent. At the same time, you will have to concede that Manusmriti was actually progressive when it came to the financial independence of women and the right to property. So how did Stridhan transform into the oppressive dowry practice? When the British colonial government went about modernizing the Indian society was caught between the ancient practices and the new laws that outlawed traditions. Believe it or not, the biggest casualty was women's right to property. The rapid changes in rural economy of India under the British rule resulted in women losing all the rights to the property. Land became a commodity that was bought and sold, and hence the benefit from the land that sustained the women in the household, such as widows and women who chose not to marry, were no longer available. In the late 18th century, the concept of dowry became an accepted practice just as a means to compensate for the man's family for taking care of the girl who is unable to work. Dowry is also widely cited as the reason for the practice of female infanticide and the lopsided sex ratio in many states in India, where having a daughter is seen as a burden for the family. Last but not the least, dowry has put women's lives in danger. Even though dowry is banned in India, dowry demands, harassment, and dowry deaths continue even today. In 1983, the Law Commission of India came up with this definition of dowry. Dowry means money or other things estimable in terms of money demanded from the wife or parents or relatives, where such a demand is not properly referable to any legally recognized claim and is relatable only to the wife's having married into the husband's family. In some communities in India, the man's family pays a bride price for marriage. Called mull, it is a practice that values the bride as opposed to being seen as a liability. There is another practice called wari, where the groom's family gives the bride gifts that match the dowry received from the bride's family. The only difference between wari and dowry is that the bride or the bride's family don't demand a wari, while dowry is demanded by the groom's parents. Dowry was a custom that started with good intentions and then became a monster that needed to be tamed. The British first documented the practice of infanticide way back in 1789 in the Benares region. As the British went about conquering the princely states in the north and west of India, regions where the practice of dowry was widely prevalent, the general consensus that emerged was that families that practiced dowry did not value women, and so female infanticide was widely practiced. Even Mahatma Gandhi actively campaigned against dowry, and not demanding dowry or rejecting grooms who demanded dowry became the right thing to do. The movement against dowry continued after independence, and it eventually led to the Abolition of Dowry Act of 1961. As you can see, dowry started off as a way to give financial cushion for women after marriage, but slowly became some kind of a payoff to wash your hands off the girl, and eventually the reason to fleece women to get more money or even kill them immediately after birth to avoid paying dowry. In a capitalistic society, the laws of supply and demand work for all transactions that involve money. Example, when sugar is in high demand because of a drop in sugar production, the prices of sugar will go up. But then the principle of supply and demand doesn't work in arranged marriages. Let's look at the gender ratio across India. It is 108.176 males for every 100 females. As you can see, there are more men compared to women. If that's the case, every prospective bride should have enough choices in terms of eligible grooms who are willing to marry them. If that is true, why do we still have the dowry issue? The answer lies in the fact that finding eligible grooms who are equal or better than the bride's family status continues to be a challenge even now. High unemployment rates and the economic downturn due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic are going to make the situation worse, as finding eligible grooms will become even more challenging. Dowry, as it is practiced now, puts the bride at a serious disadvantage. First, irrespective of whether it is dowry or bride price, the bride is treated as some kind of a property that must be traded between families. In the case of dowry, the bride is seen as a liability or someone who is inferior enough to require that she comes up with a boatload of gifts to make up for the shortfall. Even in marriages where the groom pays the bride price, she is still seen as a property that the groom's family purchased. That's why the practice of giving dowry puts women at a serious disadvantage. Even though dowry is illegal, the practice of demanding dowry will continue at least for a few more generations to come, and that's because finding a spouse is still dictated by traditions such as religion, caste, and financial background, and not just based on love. Even in love marriages, where the parents on both sides eventually accept the union, the tradition of the bride's family paying for the wedding expenses continues. In addition to legal support, empowering women by giving them access to education and equal employment opportunities in urban and rural India are the only ways we can do away with the evil practice.